the SNP is anti-Semitic. That's my view, and I'm going to tell you why I've reached that conclusion in this video. But first of all, I'd like to welcome the three types of people who are going to watch this video. There are Scottish Family Party supporters, there are people who are not too keen on the SNP, and lastly, there's the SNP legal team. So welcome to you all, and I hope you find this interesting. I'm going to offer a few things in the background before presenting what I think is the clincher for my accusation. Now, the SNP has been fiercely one-sided in the Israel-Gaza conflict with a fierce anti-Israel stance. Other conflicts around the world, other human rights abuses, nothing like the same passion is aroused in the SNP. There have been a string of incidences over the years of individual anti-Semitism from SNP representatives and members. We'll remember Hamza Yousaf giving £750,000 of our money to UNRWA, the Palestinian Refugee Agency, that it is suggested has got links with Hamas in various ways, and there were alternatives he could have given the money to instead in order to provide the aid. We'll remember when Angus Robertson of the SNP met with the Israeli Deputy Ambassador, there was outcry within the SNP that he would dare to meet with a representative of the Israeli government. We'll remember what happened to John Mason. John Mason was critical of Israel. He said he thought their actions were disproportionate and unnecessary in some ways, but he didn't like to use the term genocide, so they expelled him from the SNP. Now, I'm not basing my case at all on the SNP's historic associations with Nazism back in the 1930s. There's a video link in the end screen you might find very interesting, but I'm not basing my conclusion on that at all. But for me, this is the clincher. Let's go to the SNP Conference 2025.
And it's now my enormous pleasure to welcome to address our conference His Excellency, the Palestinian Ambassador to the United Kingdom, and my friend, Dr. Hussam Zomlot.
Okay, Hussam Zomlot, the Palestinian ambassador of Fatah, not of Hamas, was given a hero's welcome there at the SNP conference. He's previously met with Hamza Yousaf and with Nicola Sturgeon. So this is not some one-off. This is something in the DNA of the SNP. And this is the national conference. This is not just, the Cumbernauld West branch having a mad moment and inviting some terrorist sympathiser. No, this is the SNP national conference. And you hear there the rapturous applause and the hug from John Swinney.
A man who has spoken with authority and dignity.
So let's see what this man, who Swinney says has spoken with authority and dignity, had to say immediately after the October the 7th massacre. Okay, you ready for some authority and dignity? Listen to this.
Just want to take you back to Saturday morning when you first heard what Hamas had done. What went through your head?
Regret that the international community has not heeded our warnings for all these years.
Will you condemn the onslaught by Hamas?
Obsession with condemning the victims and blaming the victims and condemning the occupied, the colonized, the besieged for so many years. And this morally abhorrent approach of always talking about Israel's right to self-defense, that Israel is under siege. I saw your title all the last hours, as if there is a war. This dehumanization of Palestinians has got to end.
First and foremost, do you condemn what Hamas did inside Israel to Israeli civilians? There are dead and there are hostages.
First and foremost, the Western media must really abandon this framework.
Now, Keir Starmer's also met with this man, but when you're dealing with foreign affairs, you have to meet some unsavoury characters. I mean, Keir Starmer also met with representatives of the Israeli government, but the Labour Party did not have this man on their stage to give him a hug and a round of applause. Now, the SNP will have known what Zomlot had said after October the 7th. Now, if the SNP want to claim that they didn't know, okay, I'll withdraw my allegation. If the SNP want to plead incompetence and say we just had no idea what this man had said, we've got no idea about his track record, then okay, I'll withdraw the allegation. But if someone won't condemn terrorism from his own side and will only criticise the other side, he is a terror apologist. If someone shows selective moral concern, implying that terrorism is only wrong when other people do it, then you are a terror apologist. If you are silent in the face of evil done by one's own side, that functions as tacit justification. But it's worse than that. He's not just silent about the Hamas terrorism and barbarism. He will actually refuse to condemn it when asked to, when put on the spot. He will refuse to condemn it. And yet the SNP knowingly presents this man as a hero, unreserved adulation, and they will overlook his refusal to condemn terrorism against Jews by his own side, Palestinians. Now contrast that with how John Mason was treated, expelled from the SNP for not being harsh enough of his criticism of Israel, yet Humlot, who's a terror apologist, lauded despite refusing to criticise blatant terrorism at all. Now at this point, and someone could say in the SNP's defence, oh, they did condemn the 7th of October terrorism. Okay, amid the torrent of anti-Israel invective, it has been punctuated by the occasional condemnation of Hamas terrorism. But I'm going to argue that actions speak louder than words. The SNP would not invite a terror apologist apart from when the target is the Jews. Now the SNP and Sinn Féin, they've got some sort of affinity. There are parallels between their causes, if you like. Now Sinn Féin has refused to condemn IRA terrorism and still does refuse to condemn IRA terrorism. But the SNP have never invited a Sinn Féin representative on stage to give them a big round of applause at their conference. The SNP's moral code seems to have a special case, special carve-out for terrorism against Jews. So my view, my conclusion, based on the available evidence, is that the SNP is anti-Semitic, and that's a serious matter. Do get your tickets for the Scottish Family Party Conference, 8th of November in Glasgow, link below. Do join us as well, like and subscribe, and see you next time.